A very good morning. It is a well documented that COVID-19 pandemic has created the largest disruption of educational system worldwide, affecting nearly 1.6 billion learners in more than 200 countries. On one hand, the pandemic has increased the gulf between have and have nots by reducing educational opportunities. On the other hand, it has stimulated the innovations in the educational arena. I, Dr. Bharti Tandon, Associate Professor, on behalf of my College of Education and Center for Educational Research, welcome you all to two-day international conference sponsored by NAC on the theme Perspectives in Teaching, Learning and Assessment during COVID-19 pandemic. We all have come together to share and deliberate upon innovations, trends, challenges regarding teaching and learning, and assessment that have emerged during COVID-19 and also means to improve the learning environment and student engagement. To begin with the inaugural session, I first of all would like to invite Dr. Renu Gupta, Chairperson, Maya Groups of Institutions, to formally welcome the chief guest, other dignitaries, presenters, and participants to this international conference. Dr. Renu Gupta is an eminent educationist and an inspiring leader who motivates and works persistently to take my group of institutions to greater heights. Ma'am, please.
On behalf of Model Institute of Education and Research, it gives me immense pleasure to welcome you all to the 2 days international conference on the theme Perspectives in Teaching, Learning and Assessment during COVID-19 pandemic, which is being organized at the Meyer College of Education in collaboration with NAC. First of all, I would like to extend a very hearty welcome to our chief guest for the inaugural session, Professor Naresh Pada, Dean Academic Affairs, University of Jammu. Professor Naresh Pada is a noted physicist. He has occupied numerous senior positions at the University of Jammu, such as Dean Sciences, Office of the Registrar, Dean Research Studies, Director HRDC, etc. He is a renowned researcher and has over 100 publications in prestigious journals and Professor Pada has guided over 10 theses and PhDs at MPhil levels and has completed 11 sponsored research projects for various national and international scientific organizations and is a renowned figure as far as the national and international levels are concerned. He's a member of prestigious bodies and associations such as the Indian Science Congress Association and the National Academy of Sciences. He has been associated as a senior faculty and consultant with various international agencies and universities and is sought after for his work in the field of semiconductor 2D materials, photovoltaic devices, optoelectronics and sensor applications. Presently, Professor Pada is one of the senior most positions in the University of Jammu. We are very confident and have great faith and belief that he will be able to successfully implement the National Educational Policy NEP 2020 in the university and colleges across Jammu region in right earnest. I think it's a very crucial and transient period for the entire country to move to the new, novel and more flexible educational system, which will connect the national educational framework with some common goals, links, curriculum and access for educational fraternity, including the students. It is right now difficult to imagine the actual challenges which the higher educational institutions will face during the implementation process. But the intent and spirit of autonomy reflected in the framework of NEP 2020 is very encouraging for all major stakeholders of education. We hope and believe with university colleges partnership, networking, hand-holding, mentoring process, we will forge a great alliance with the University of Jammu to march forward and achieve the goal of quality education as per the national trends and the latest trends, both locally and globally. I would also take this opportunity to welcome the keynote speakers for the inaugural session, Professor Amit Fox, Dean, Faculty of Education, GNDU, Amritsar, who will be joining us online. Professor Amit Fox is an expert in the field of educational technology and is widely recognized for his pioneering work in the implementation of modern educational technologies in the field of education. I would also like to extend a very warm welcome to Professor G.S. Samyal and Major General Retired S.K. Sharma from MITE and Joint Director Mrs. Rupa Gupta. Thank you for sparing your time for this important inaugural session. I would also like to welcome the keynote speakers from different countries and chairpersons for different sessions, along with paper presenters from across the country through online and offline mode. And last but not the least, I would like to welcome the faculty, scholars, and students of Meyer College of Education, and also scholars and faculty from IIT Jammu, Central University Jammu, Cluster University Jammu, and many colleges from down south who will be joining us at different sessions during the course of this conference. Friends, Meyer Group is a very is an institution, one of the leading institutions in northern India, where learning needs of over 3,000 learners are being met, from the preschool to the postgraduate levels, in the field of education, research, training, social welfare, and new technologies. The institution has emerged as a trend-setting institution, utilizing both formal and informal and non-formal techniques on the principles of excellence, quality, self-reliance, collaboration, innovation, sharing, networking, and services to the society. Meyer is carrying forward 86 years of legacy of the founders, whereunder we are committed to provide high quality education and training to the would-be teachers, engineers, management students at the undergraduate and postgraduate levels, and also going to run some undergraduate honors degree programs in both the autonomous colleges of Meyer, that is Meyer College and MITE. A few words about the theme of the international conference. The international conference envisages to discuss the whole gamut of entire educational process, which underwent the largest disruption during COVID-19 times. This includes the teaching, learning, and assessment process in totality, and what emerged as the new normal for the higher education institutions and its major stakeholders. Though the outbreak of COVID-19 has created many adverse impacts in education, like sudden transition from face-to-face learning to online learning, educational activities were hampered, unprepared teachers, students for online education, digital skills of teachers not very effective. They are struggling with technical issues in creating e-content and stay connected with the students. Many teachers find learners are less interested during online sessions. Teachers themselves are distracted by their surroundings during teaching. The teacher and student is taking this phase as temporary and alternative to offline education. The result of teaching learning process is not very effective as far as assessment is concerned. The options available could not be used as a comprehensive solution to replace writing of a physical examination. The ICT-based Teaching learning process could not be placed in the institution in time due to technical glitches, infrastructure, equipment, and internet facilities. The rural sector was hit the most. However, the higher education institutions accepted the challenges and tried their best to provide seamless support services to the students during pandemic and got the opportunity to turn these challenges into transforming traditional system to a new era. We moved towards blended learning. We adopted digital technologies to deliver education. New ways of delivery and assessment of learning opened immense opportunities for a major transformation in the areas of curriculum development, pedagogy, and evaluation. It gave access to large pool of learners at a time. It encouraged collaborative work. A rise in online meetings in blended mode, webinars, e-conferences has led to enhanced digital literacy, improved use of electronic media for sharing information. Learners adapted to international community and connected with the world. So seeing the pros and cons, I think harmonizing education with pandemic challenges in future require a blend of online and offline learning, which may form the future education. Digital platforms may focus on learning management while being humane, training, molding, shaping, and transforming can be focused in the physical space of educational institutions. E-learning, when paired with traditional instruction, creates a learning experience which makes the classroom blended. It is the mix or the fusion of both of these which will prompt the policy planners to bring about pedagogic changes and recommend use of immersive teaching at all levels. So the changes brought by the new normal are not just about modes of teaching and learning, but have altered the way we studied, learned, and did our business. Adaptability is the key to survive and excel. I am reminded of a quote of our times. Capability, not capability, will be the hallmark of 21st century, and I see it coming true. I just want to, share my personal experience. When way back in 1990, we were the students of distance education in IGNOU. We studied the concept of university without walls. Today, I forgot about what I learned. So looking back at this concept in Google, it said university without wall, a vision for 2030, propagated by the European University Association and documented properly. What does it mean? It is a degree completion program for adult students who have gained significant college level learning through career or other experience. It recognizes learning that occurs outside of the traditional classrooms. In fact, some of the universities in US have departments which promote this concept. Even IGNOU is one big example of it in India. I think the new slogan would be the ease of studying with flexible entry and exit points in future at your place, space, and time zone. Even UGC is also propagating the online programs in a big manner. So I think from that perspective, Distance Education Council will assume a significant role as a statutory body in the near future to bring about revolution in educational services through multi-mode medias. So I think I would like to leave you pondering with one of my personal concerns, which you all can discuss and deliberate during these 2 days. I think all said and done, our creativity is at stake in the present educational scenario. So if we want outcome-based learning as the end product for our learners, then the current trend of evaluation is pushing the students towards plagiarism and copy pasting. Examinations have never been a true reflection of a person's creative, collaborative, social, and critical thinking skills. The National Education Policy 2020 attempts to move from rote to competency-based learning, inculcating creative and critical thinking capacities in students to meet the real challenges of 21st century proactively. I think while the goal is ideal, but the road towards the goal is not very clear. So I think we all need to work together towards it. So with these words, I wish you all very fruitful, meaningful deliberations and great practical outcomes and recommendations from these 2 days international conference. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am, for the warm welcome and the opening remarks, and also setting the tone of the conference. I take honor to invite Dr. Amit Gupta, Director and Principal, Mac College of Education, to tell us more about the conference, its main focus and themes. Dr. Gupta is a dynamic leader who spearheads innovation and change, not only to fulfill institutional goals, but also to meet professional goals of the faculty. Dr. Gupta is a strong advocate of global collaboration and creating an academic community. He is also the main force behind organizing this particular conference. I invite you, sir, please.
Very good morning, ladies and gentlemen, most esteemed chief guests, the esteemed dignitaries, members of the faculty, participants to this 2-day international conference, and dear research scholars. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome you all today to this 2-day international conference, which has been sponsored by NAC. In fact, this is the first conference that we are actually doing in hybrid mode. So all the technology and the cameras that you see around us are capturing each and every moment. And the small glitches that come on the screen from time to time, and people who are joining online have their mics on. So kindly excuse us for these small iterations. But whenever we adopt new technologies, there are always some small issues that are associated with it. But nevertheless, it's been a great teamwork by our technology department to put things together. I'm so happy that many of our research scholars who are, planning of presenting papers online have also joined this conference. And in fact, I'm very happy to report that scholars from all over the country have registered themselves to participate in this particular conference, almost 70 of them. Right from Jammu and Kashmir, Delhi, Gujarat, even Chennai, and some other parts of India. So it's going to be a good mix of deliberations and exchange of ideas from all over the country, because the experience that we've had in the last 2 years or so, which the pandemic has taught us, has totally altered and changed our way of thinking about the entire teaching learning process, considering what has been happening all around. The conference has been conceived because we felt that our teachers, our students at all levels of education, whether it be school, whether it be colleges, whether it be universities, have been, putting their heads together to get the whole process of education in a continuous manner and to avoid any deadlocks and roadblocks that come in completion of their courses. So everybody just jumped to online learning. They prepared their own systems of assessment. Some of them were successful, some of them were not so successful, some of them did not even work. Our teachers, suddenly engaged their digital skills to such an extent that everybody wanted to learn online platforms like Google Meet, Zoom, and WebEx, etc. So everybody was on a learning spree, which in fact was a good thing, because we were all getting to learn some new digital skills which otherwise in the normal college or university environment we would not have. Earlier it was kind of privilege, but now it's become a necessity. So we thought, since everybody has been working in this kind of environment for last so many time, and last 2 years specifically, it would be good idea to share our experiences as to how the teaching, learning, and assessment processes happened during the last 2 years, and then based on that, we could, suggest strategies and prepare a roadmap to take things further. So in light of that, this entire conference was conceived. So the conference has basically 8 important themes. These are blended learning and MOOCs, web-based learning environments, recent trends in online teaching learning, online assessment and evaluation, teachers' professional development during COVID-19, new developments in ICT in education, and the future of digital universities. And as all of you know that, all these are so important areas because the entire educational process is being put on these terms. So putting all our heads together and learning from each other's experiences and research, we could frame concrete strategies going forward. I would also like to, take this opportunity and thank our esteemed keynote speakers who would be, joining us in various sessions. Our inaugural keynote speaker is Professor Amit Fox, a renowned professor of education, and he's the Dean Faculty of Education at Guru Nanak Dev University, Amritsar. He has joined us online, and we'll all be listening to him shortly. Followed by that, we'll be having Professor Michael Sankey from Australia. He's based in Darwin. So he's the Director, Learning Futures and Lead Educational Architect at Charles Darwin University. Then we will be hearing Professor Renu Nanda from the University of Jammu, who's the head of the department there. Our third keynote presenter would be Professor Perry Denbroek from the Netherlands. He's a chair at the Department of Social Sciences, Wageningen University. Tomorrow we'll be having again 3 important keynote addresses. The first keynote address would be by Professor Beena Giridharan, who's the Dean Learning and Teaching at Curtin University, Malaysia, followed by Professor Jaco Olivier, who is the UNESCO Chair of Multimodal Learning and Open Educational Resources at Northwest University, South Africa. And the last keynote presenter for the day would be Dr. Ram Sharma, who is the Pro Vice Chancellor at the University of Petroleum and Energy Studies, who has done a lot of works in building MOOCs on a budget. In our valedictory session, we'll have 2 educational stalwarts who will be talking on different themes. These would be Professor Sarika Sharma, Dean and Head Department of Education at the Central University of Haryana. And the chief guest for the program would be Professor Rajiv Ratan, who's the Dean Department of Education, University of Jammu. So we have a plethora of, individuals, professors, and key personnel who have been working in the field of educational technology, talking about the technology in the real sense and its application in education. So I'm very hopeful that during these 2 days, we'll be having excellent deliberations and the interactions with these learned people. We'll get to learn a lot and learn from their experiences and then try to utilize them in our current, understanding of how ICT is being integrated in our educational process. So I hope and believe that you all have a wonderful time ahead. These wonderful keynote speakers are all connecting online from their respective countries. So I'll appreciate that the momentum and flow of the conference be maintained, and we should adhere to the time limits that are being set by the Master of Ceremonies. We should, have nice tea and lunch, and then come back to this hall to listen to these sessions in time. So thank you very much and have a wonderful day ahead.
Thank you, sir, for providing us an overview of the conference and also reiterating the fact that since it has been a great shift from traditional face-to-face to an online teaching learning, what has been done, what was quickly shifted to, and what growth we are looking forward to. I would now like to invite Professor Amit Fox for the inaugural keynote address on the theme Perspectives in Teaching, Learning, and Assessment during COVID-19 pandemic. Allow me to introduce Professor Amit Fox. Professor Amit Fox is a Dean, Faculty of Education, Guru Nanak Dev University. He is an expert in the field of education technology and is recognized for his pioneering works in the implementation of education technology in education. He has a vast research experience with publication in renowned and numerous journals, and also distinguished conferences. He is also a member of various prestigious committees and University Grant Commission. NAC has also impaneled Professor Koch as a chairperson and member secretary of various peer teams. Professor Koch has been playing a key leadership role in various top positions in the university and is recognized as a field expert in the field of teacher education throughout the country. So we're going to listen to Professor Koch.
You're on mute, sir.
Good morning, everybody. Am I audible now?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Very respected Professor Dr. Renu Gupta, Chairperson, Mayar Jammu, Professor Adit Gupta, Principal, Mayar Institution, Professor Naresh Padha, who's presiding this session and was Dean Academic Affairs of Jammu University, organizing team, resource persons from different universities of the country and across the world, participants, faculty of Mayar and other participants who are participating into this NAC sponsored international conference in a hybrid way. First of all, let me congratulate Mayar institution, who always takes lead into something, something which is the need of the time. Being sensitive to what's happening around is a quality of a good institution. The institution which is leading, and when I'm saying leading, this is one of the prestigious institution, which is an autonomous institution by UGC and is performing very well. When I just looked at it, of course, I got this invite, in a very different mode. But when I just went through the title of this international conference, I found it to be very close to this institution. Because if you visit people who are here in offline mode, if they just go around the institution, you will find technology is being integrated into everything there. So, when we are talking about COVID-19, probably one basic difference which has come up is the use of technology. Otherwise, earlier also we were having teaching, learning, and assessment. Now also we are having teaching, learning, and evaluation. But in between, when institutions were closed down, it was total pandemic, and all institution, everything was closed down. That time, only escape or only respite to the people was online. So how institutions equipped and how institutions and teachers started looking at teaching and learning processes and assessment processes during those times. This is something which we need to reflect on. We need to review what we did, and we need to look into what can be best integrated even post-COVID times. Because I remember before COVID also, there were a lot of initiatives of ICT integration into teaching, learning, and assessment. But probably those were not very well taken up by most of the practice. Like the ones who were leading institution, probably they were trying to integrate, but majority of the institutions, they were not, and there were many reasons for it. 2-3 things which are very important from that point of view is, one is ICT access. That is a very, very, very big issue in the way of effective online teaching, learning, and assessment. ICT access, and second is ICT skills, and third is ICT attitude. Probably what Professor Renu just talked in her inaugural or welcome address, I think these are some of the things which really make a lot of difference as far as our perspective in teaching, learning, and assessment is concerned. I'll not get into much details of what happened during that time, but after March 2020, things were really bad, and there was a lot of increase into the cases of COVID. There were a lot of sad happenings also, like we had around 62 lakhs deaths till now because of COVID. And if you just see what happened, continent-wise or different region-wise, what WHO says that approximately 21.8 crore people, they were affected in Europe. Similarly, in America, 15.4 crores and 58 lakhs in Southeast Asia, 57 lakhs in Western Pacific. So, majority of the deaths which happened were in Southeast Asia, Europe, and America. In India, we have around 43 lakhs cases, confirmed cases till now. What was the basic impact of pandemic? One thing is that COVID-19, it is a universal crisis resulting in dramatic loss of human life worldwide. This is what I just demonstrated. But this resulted into few things like complete lockdowns. Initial 3, 4, 5 months, it was complete lockdown, and even after that, institutions opened in a very partial way. Very recently, we are into offline mode. Even now, when we are witnessing this international conference, we are looking for hybrid mechanisms. Like, they are places from where people hesitate to move. The people who are around, maybe they can sit together, but still there are no restrictions on travel or something like that. But there are hesitations. And second thing, instead of hesitation, also there is convenience. Probably I would have loved to be in the campus of Maya today, but I had some other occupations also, other engagements also. So I could entertain this engagement also very well fitted into my routine program. So this is something, some positive thing which is happening because of pandemic impact. We were not so positive about and fluent in using ICT in such a way pre-COVID. So business layoffs or shutdowns were there, closures of educational institutions were there, and we were left with only one thing, that was remote working. Today, if I could see in the program, there are many resource persons from across the country. Probably one of the reasons is that we are doing it in a hybrid way. This impact is going to be lifelong. We lost around 8.8% of global working hours in 2020. We pushed 119 to 124 million people into poverty. Human Development Index recorded its first drop since 1990 due to pandemic, which has erased decades of progress in the female labor participation. Now, these are some of the impacts which are not, specifically on education, but in general. If you just see the report of UNESCO in March 2020, it says 1.3 billion learners around the world were not able to attend school or university. Now, this was the impact on education. And I'm talking about that time when it was a total lockdown, total close down. So, students belonging to pre-primary, primary, secondary, higher education, this was the number. And, when this number, so many learners, they were sitting at home and trying to struggle, not only students, but teachers, they also had a challenge. Like students had the challenge of learning, teacher had the challenge of teaching. And this was a time when people, teachers, I like to give, congratulations to all the teachers who really attended this challenge in a very effective way. People started working. There was a divide, digital divide, and there was a pedagogical divide also in developed and developing countries. If you look at the scenario of developing countries, they were far ahead, and they were using ICT, or they were using online mechanisms even in pre-COVID. And we are fortunate as country in India also. Like we also initiated a lot of digital issues in educational institution. I know Coursera courses, EDX courses, Unacademy courses, and in India, SWAYAM also came before pandemic only. So these are basically the online mechanisms for teaching and learning and assessment, which happened because of some other challenges. And challenges were that we wanted more of gross enrollment ratio in higher education. We wanted cheaper education. Because when we are establishing institution and there is a faculty, so the cost of per student is much higher. And if the cost is borne by the parents, is perfectly all right. If the cost is borne by the candidate himself, like the kind of mechanism we have in developed countries, so students used to take loans, educational loans. So when they used to get into the jobs, they were already under debt. So this mechanism, this issue, a social issue, was addressed by the educational community, and they thought of introducing MOOC courses. And then certain learning management systems they came, some online mechanism portals came, like Coursera, EDX, all these kind of things. So MOOC courses was first way to take on the education in a cheaper way and in an online mechanism. So when I just look at the way developed countries handle this, it was much effective way. But if I look at the other aspect, that is developed countries, and in developed countries, you just see the difference. Like if we just look at ICT access, ICT use, and ICT skills together, the ranking is giving a drastic view. South Korea is first on the list. Japan is 11th. UK is 5th. USA is 14th. And just look at the scene in India. We were 131st with respect to ICT access, ICT use, and skills. Now this was the kind of digital divide we had, and which was giving us a lot of challenges, because the students in developing countries or underdeveloped countries, they face a lot of problems, and they face problems related to online access, because when you are not coming into the institution in an offline mode. That time only thing was online. So developing countries also looked at this aspect from a different point of view, and just see worldwide how students were unable to access things. If you just see Eastern and Southern Africa, you'll find only 42% people or students, they were able to access ICT. They were able to access learning, remote learning, through COVID-19 when institutions were closed down. So approximately 65% learners, they were not able to have access to remote learning. And if you just compare it with Europe, or if you compare with Latin America and Caribbean, you'll find the ratio is going up to 85%. 85% people, they were able to access remote learning. Now, this is the kind of you have a digital divide, and that led to a lot of problems. And one of the problem is if you just see the primary reading trajectories, of course, in developed countries, you'll find, if you just see sub-Saharan Africa, the learning, the quality of learning was much lesser. And if you just see Europe and Northern America, the quality of learning is much higher. It's beyond 90%, 95%. But in all categories of countries, you will find there's a sharp decline into the primary reading trajectory. So, and now again, the developed countries, they are equipping themselves in terms of quality of learning. Again, when we have accommodated all online way of learning, and we are coming into an offline mode. Three main concerns of UNESCO in 2020 were: one was development of distance learning modalities through variety of formats and platforms. Second was support and mobilization of education personnel and communities. This is what Professor Renu also referred to. Like, we had a variety of diversity in terms of skill of teachers. So, or digital skills of teachers who can really engage students and communicate in an online way. And third thing, which was very important, in addition to your learning issues, the concern for health and overall well-being of students. Students used to go to the institution. Institution doesn't give you only knowledge, but it gives you a lot of engagement also with your peers, with your teachers, with society, with work. So when you are sitting at home all the time, there are a lot of concerns as far as well-being of the students is concerned. When it comes to remote learning, so remote learning was a challenge. One challenge was that we had the issues of access to online education. Second was we had issues for how to communicate in an online way. So one way of communication was that we can develop some mechanism wherein some apps are there. Those apps are downloaded by the students. We upload that material in the apps, and in offline mode also students can access those those learning materials. Similarly, there is TV. So on TV also, many of the countries they initiated a lot of programs on TV. So direct online, like they were lectures delivered on online. Lectures were recorded and they were displayed on TVs. So this was one way. And second was that I'm able to communicate simultaneously. I'm able to interact simultaneously. Like I give you a link through which you can respond to the questions which I'm writing. So quizzes was one way of synchronous communication. So there were so many communication tools through which we can simultaneously interact with our students, like when we are in distance also. So some of the things which were used by variety of institutions. Now here you'll find Uruguay is one of the country which is a developed country. Like you will find most of the people, they are above average income group there. But on the other side you have Kenya, you have Haiti. So these are countries which are very poor, underdeveloped countries. And see the kind of remote learning strategies different types of countries they adopted during COVID-19. Adaptive software and teacher involvement. Now you will find visuals were given by developed countries because they were online well connected. Audios were shared by them. Household infrastructure was developed, so students they were able to interact online also. Similarly, because it was a developed country, so school infrastructure was also developed with respect to online engagement. Synchronous usage was there, interactive was there, adaptive was there, learner engagement was to a lesser extent, because in routine pre-COVID we were not more prone to online, and we did not have, as teachers we did not have skills to engage learners in an online mechanism. So most of the tools which were making students engaged, the students they were not able, like teachers they were not equipped with that. And then parental engagement, that was again a bigger point even in developed countries. But if you compare it with the underdeveloped countries, you find that take-home learning package, this was one of the strategies. Radio teacher phone follow-up sessions, this was adopted by underdeveloped countries. TV and teacher mobile follow-ups, that was also initiated during COVID times. TV and pre-recorded online lessons, this was also adapted by developing and underdeveloped countries. Live online lessons plus teaching learning, it was adopted by those countries or those institutions wherein online mechanisms they were advanced, or there was uninterrupted online facility available to it. So during COVID-19, teachers and institutions they made massive effort to look into different mechanism how they can, like, I have seen people writing notes and sharing on, like, making a PDF of it and sharing in WhatsApp messages. This was happening. There were some institutions, like, in India, NCT, like with reference to teacher education institution, NCT made a team and requested them to develop some key content which was uploaded on NCT website. Similarly, UGC also initiated a lot of efforts. AICTE in the country, they also made a lot of effort. CEC, Consortium of Educational Communication, they developed a lot of e-content and shared with the institution. Similarly, DTH channels, like they continuously telecasted, different kind of what do you call that, lectures on TV. So effort was made that, those who were having online mechanism, they are given e-content. Those who did not have but TV at their places, even their online lectures were delivered, where even TV was not available. Radio was used as one of the technique, and schedule was given to the students and parents. So there was a lot of effort on the part of teachers to adopt different types of remote learning strategies, keeping in view what kind of facilities they had at home, in institutions, and in the social setup. These are a few things which I already shared with you. Multimodal responses were common, and there were differences between regions and country, income levels. Some nations utilized pre-existing educational technology infrastructure to deploy remote learning strategies, ranging from paper-based take-home packages to radio, TV, phone, and internet-based solutions. Distincting rise of e-learning using digital platforms such as Microsoft Teams, Google Classroom, Canvas, Blackboard, all these things were already available pre-COVID also. But the way these e-learning platforms were used during these days, probably now if somebody says that you have to be online for some workshop or for some seminar, nobody hesitates, because everybody becomes so skilled by using it. Because I believe that technology is not something to learn through a tutor. Technology is something which you can just experience. You start using it, you start learning it. One thing which I feel has come up in an effective way, probably in post-COVID time, UGC also gave a lot of relaxation as far as digital, or blended mode is concerned. Even pre-COVID also, UGC was saying that 10%, up to 10% online courses could be taken up. But now they are saying up to 40% online courses could be taken up through, through SWAYAM portal. One thing is just becoming online and taking up the whole course through online mechanism. But when teachers became skilled during COVID time, probably one thing which I find which should be taken up now by the teachers is the flipped classroom strategy. Like, something which we just wants to give the knowledge. That knowledge can be given in the form of a PPT, in the form of a video, in the form of a edited video taken from different OERs. And then, when you are coming into a offline mode, that time you are concentrating lot on group activities, lot of discussions, lot of collaboration, lot of team building, lot of leadership qualities. This is what was lacking even in pre-COVID time as far as education system was is concerned. So when now, as teachers, as institutions, we have developed for an online mechanisms. We know how to develop a video, how to design a video. We know how to edit a video. We know how to share e-content, maybe through Google Classroom, maybe through Moodle, maybe through Edmodo. These are learning management systems. Maybe through different kind of Canvas. Through Canvas also you can conduct your classes, and you can share a lot of resources, and you can be interactive with your learners. So once we are skilled with those kind of capabilities, probably the best mechanism in a hybrid manner, which is going to be a new normal now. We should try that we share content related to knowledge and understanding through these communication devices. And when we are asking students to come in the classroom, we develop some kind of cooperative learning strategies. We develop groups. We engage students more. It is more interactive. It is more engaging. Instead teacher talks more. It is more students interaction within themselves, and they are solving problems in the classroom in the presence of the teacher. And teacher acts as a facilitator. He ensures that they are following democratic values. They are developing democratic values. They are developing life skills, which is need of the time. Because for employment, probably you don't require the content. You don't require the knowledge only. You require life skills also and employability skills also. Now, these are some of the things which were used massively during COVID times. One mechanism, one thought which came to develop countries, even country like India also, homeschooling. Like till now, we were having only schooling process, and our teachers would teach. But now there's another concept which is coming up, like if mother is not working, mother is at home, and mother says there are so many things which a learner or his child learns which are not desirable in the school system. So he says, I don't want to send my child to the school. I will educate him or her in my home only. So she calls the tutors in the house, and then she gives him some kind of time for peer play in the evening. So whole schooling is done at home. So this is a new concept which is coming up, and which requires a lot of research also. I'll not get into this, but these are some of the things which Government of India initiated. Some of them, they were initiated before pandemic, but they were used massively during pandemic. SWAYAM portal, there are a lot of organizations in India. They were given the mandate to develop MOOC courses. For example, in India, we have University Grants Commission. So in University Grants Commission was given a mandate for developing e-content for non-technology postgraduate courses. TEC, Consortium of Educational Communication, was given mandate for developing e-content for undergraduate non-technology courses. NPTEL was given the mandate for developing technology programs. Technical NITTR, National Institute of Technical Teachers Technical Education. So they were given the mandate for teacher training. NIUS, National Institute of Open Schooling, they were given the mandate for developing e-content for out-of-school children up to 12th class. Similarly, NCERT was given mandate for developing e-content for school classes. So there were 8 coordinators who were developing e-content and online courses for SWAYAM. So that was used massively by teachers and organizations during COVID time. Similarly, SWAYAM Prabhat, places where we were not having internet connectivity. So recorded lectures were displayed through 32 DTH channels, which were dedicated for education only. We had National Digital Library, we have virtual labs, we have e-yantra. So these are some of the initiatives which are used massively during COVID times. As far as assessment is concerned, initially examinations were postponed, cancelled in most of the nation worldwide. In India, we had online examination also. The question papers were given, students were monitored, the papers were written by the students, their PDF was created and were sent in a stipulated time. In some very good institution, learning management systems were developed, and during when we have taught through learning management systems. So formative assessments, like you have Google Forms, wherein you gave multiple choice questions, you gave recall type questions, you gave matching type questions, you gave essay type questions. You gave even rubrics. Many of the learning management systems, they had rubrics also. So those mechanisms were used by advanced institutions who were using LMS. But those who were not using LMS, they made use of sending the question paper to mail, giving specific time to the students. They are writing, PDF is created, and in a specific time, the PDF was shared with the institution, and there was an internal evaluation. We could not make external evaluation. So formative assessment is becoming more and more desired even after post-COVID. When we are looking for National Education Policy 2020, and we are looking for post-COVID scenario, we are looking for many of the things which can help us to deliver learning outcome-based education. And learning outcome-based education would not make us valid for examining through only essay questions. When we have to ensure that students have really achieved learning outcomes, that has to be done in a formative way. Every week there are quizzes. Every week there are some assignments. Every week there are some short answer tests. Every week, every month there is some kind of semester examination or periodical examination, then end term examination. So it is not only the end term examination is going to matter, but evaluation ultimately in post COVID would be more in formative way, more in a holistic way, rather than concentrating only on the issue of cognition. Future of learning is a hybrid model of education. This is one example of hybrid which Professor Adit Gupta has initiated for conducting a online and offline mix of that conference. ICT has to become integral part of education system, and I really hope that we don't leave what we learned during COVID time. We make use of it and integrate for bringing quality in our teaching, learning, and assessment by utilizing our teaching skills for an offline mode and for a online mode. And in new normal, in post-COVID, we should also redesign our pedagogy for offline teaching. It should not be delivering lectures now. It has to be more engaging for the students. Replicating a
So there's some technological lag, so kindly be with us. We'll again going to hear back to Professor Cox. Okay. Thank you, sir, for your deliberations on teaching, learning, and assessment during COVID pandemic. As you highlighted, sir, the COVID pandemic has forced us to rapidly adopt, integrate, and use technology to help us survive during this challenging time and also to minimize interruption in education. Moreover, this sudden shift has compelled us to think about teaching pedagogies, ICT skills, available technological infrastructure, assessment of learning, and also the rigor of online teaching learning process. It's my privilege to invite Professor Naresh Pada, Dean Academic Affairs, University of Jammu, for the presidential remarks. Allow me to introduce you, sir, to the audience once again. Professor Naresh Pada is currently the Dean Academic Affairs at the University of Jammu. He has occupied numerous senior positions at the University of Jammu, such as Dean Sciences, Office of the Registrar, Dean Research Studies, director at RDC, etc. He is a renowned researcher and has over 100 publications in prestigious journals and distinguished international conferences. Professor Pada has guided over 10 theses at the PhD and MPhil levels and has completed 11 sponsored research projects for various national and international scientific organizations. He is a member of various prestigious bodies and associations such as Indian Science Congress Association and the National Academy of Sciences. He has been associated as a senior faculty and consultant with various national and international universities. Sir, please.
Dr. Renu Gupta, Chairperson, Maya Group, Dr. Adit Gupta, Director and Principal, Maya College of Education and Research, Major General retired S.K. Sharmaji, and Professor G.S. Samyal, Professor Shan, Shri B.L. Bhatt, Shri P.P. Sharma, the person who I know by name, and faculty, worthy faculty members of the Maya College, researchers participating in the conference, and other dignitaries joining online, offline for this event. I was supposed to talk only on this theme and the certain things which are in the sphere, but ma'am started with a very pertinent thing which I know I want that I should talk few lines on that. That is national education policy, because we all universities in the state are brainstorming. A lot of efforts have been made, several drafts have been made. The template has been prepared, but again there is an intervention from the regulatory bodies, and so things are to be done again and again. And you know what are the challenges? Challenges are not the students. Challenges are how to transform our teaching fraternity with the new scheme of events. For example, we are supposed to deliver certificate if the candidate wants to exit after 2 semesters. And for that, there is a 10 credits skill course is to be done by the candidate. And suppose the candidate goes after 2 years, we have to give diploma. And for that, he or she has to earn 20 more credits. And then when you go to the 4th year, it is either honors or your research. And somebody who does 4 years has to done only 1 year's PG. So that is again a challenge. And moreover, it's not possible for the state to implement NEP in all the colleges of the University of Jammu and University of Kashmir, because some of the colleges which are professional colleges which are in the periphery, and they do not have sufficient infrastructure and human support. So a lot of challenges are there, but one thing is there, that's a very dynamic program, and it's a need of the hour, and we all have to work together to achieve it. With regard to the role of Maya College, I'm highly impressed the way things are being done here in Maya College, and therefore yesterday I was in my college and things are being done over there. Very high quality teaching and learning is being imparted, and University of Jammu feels proud that the 2 autonomous colleges which was created by the University of Jammu are really coming progressed are developed very fast. So let me start that about this topic. It's a very relevant topic that the college has chosen, and it's a very appropriate time to organize such conference, because we all are in touch. We have experienced we know that what were the challenges. And in the university, I find that there was a challenge when we shifted from offline to online. And there was a challenge when we felt that we have successfully imparted the teaching and students are satisfied. But it was more challenging when we conducted the examination. So online, in the name of online examination, the things which was the students were not examined the way we were examining them, because what happened, you would see the trend that major chunk of the students are above 90%. So online, that means they write from their residence and then they send through email, and what happens in between and etc. you don't know. So it's a big challenge. So this seminar is very relevant for that. The organizers deserve appreciation that the conference has been organized in blended mode, so that you are making use of the international experts in your room, and at the same time you are giving opportunity to the those who can contribute physically to come forward and deliver. So COVID-19, that has already been told that how it has disrupted us. Human society faced it, brought innovation within the education sector. This crisis has forced education system to shift from face-to-face to online mode. And teachers and students have used online teachings and learnings on an unprecedented scale. Innovative approaches, including MOOC, or thus, as has been told very nicely by Dr. Amit, that has been used. But here also I have some apprehensions. While you can deliver the lecture and you feel satisfied that I have delivered the lecture, it's nice delivery, but it's not possible to conduct the practicals. You cannot taught practicals to the students. You cannot taught skills to the students. You cannot hold a workshop efficiently. So lot more things are required to be done when all these things are to be taken care. I expect that the conference calls for further reforms in teaching, learning and assessment at different levels of education. The online learning environments more engaging, and to discuss various factors affecting teaching, learning and assessment, as I told you, to create the platform for academicians, from researchers, for administrators, from education technology specialists to share and discuss new developments of information technology, learning and assessment during COVID-19 pandemic using IT should also be undertaken. I am confident the participants could be benefited and get a unique experience from the lectures delivered by the learner resource persons and presentation made for the faculty and research scholars from different institutions of the country and abroad. I believe that the conference does not remain only an academic activity. After it is completed, I wish that a detailed report on the findings and the recommendations be published for future use for the benefit of the society. And I request that please provide me also one copy. So I believe that the experiences of the student community, who were the real stakeholders, must be included in the proceedings. We must take feedback from the students, how they conceived it. I urge upon that the academia and research should come together on a single platform and reach some conclusion regarding developing research supported perspective about teaching, learning and assessment. It has been experienced that all stakeholders in the society, irrespective of which stream of education they belong, they must be technology friendly and keep updating with the technological developments, because you know that those who were not touching computers prior to it were forced to learn computer. So that is very important. Online teaching and learning assessment shall stay in the society for all times to come. That is reiterated by other speakers also. And several apex regulatory authorities like UGC have already floated fully online degree programs. So that means online transformation shall stay and will come one or the other form. And it is very useful that you in this hall you could hear Amit Ji from GNDU and you will hear some other professor from Australia like that. So, but still there are shortcomings as I discussed, the lab skills, workshops, etc. So it is the need of the hour that all should join hands together and make online platforms a true alternative of the teaching conducted on physical mode. So I have these few ideas and few you can say that thoughts which I wanted that I should share over here. No, I personally feel that all of us who are part of this conference must participate the most serious manner. One more thing I like to share with the students that see if we go to the online mode, it doesn't mean that because all are sitting in this hall, all are focused to one person who is speaking from here. But what happens online? Some students sitting on the scooters, keeping mobile like that, and they say that we are attending the lectures. So you cannot afford to lose discipline. Discipline in online and discipline in offline cannot have two yardsticks. So I think we all have experienced this, and we all should contribute here, and we should. I hope that we issue a nice document and which can go to the all administrative bodies, and you contribute in reforming the future systems which are online or offline. Thank you very much. Thank you for giving me that.
Thank you, sir, for appreciating our work and teaching. It means a lot coming from you. Thank you for enlightening us with your stance on the theme of the conference and highlighting that during pandemic, both teachers and students have experienced unique situations. And these unique situations and experiences have yielded some uncertainty and stress required adapting and adjusting to new ways and means to find solutions for unforeseen challenges, and has compelled educational institutions to tread new waters and survive, leading to innovation and changes and making collaboration with all stakeholders to make the shift. Thank you so much, sir. I request Dr. Renu Gupta, Chairperson Meyer, to give the memento to the chief guest as a token of respect, and I also request Dr. Adit Gupta to join her for giving the memento. Thank you, ma'am and sir. Now I invite Dr. Nishta Rana, Head for Center of Educational Research, to propose a formal vote of thanks. Ma'am, please.
Very good morning, everyone. Honorable Chief Guest, present Excellencies, teachers, and my dear students, I deem it my proud privilege to propose formal vote of thanks on behalf of Center for Educational Research, Maya College of Education, to this August gathering here in the inaugural session of two-day international conference on perspectives in teaching, learning and assessment during COVID-19 pandemic. First and foremost, I would like to thank today's chief guest, Professor Naresh Padha, Dean Academic Affairs, University of Jammu, who honored this session with his inspirational presidential remarks. Next, I express my deep gratitude to our respected chairperson, Dr. Renu Gupta, for being there today with us and for welcoming the galaxy of intellectuals. Thank you, ma'am, for your opening remarks and showering your blessings on all of us. It gives me an immense pleasure to thank Professor Amit Fox, Dean Department of Education, Guru Nanak Dev University, Amritsar, for delivering the keynote address on the conference theme. I take the opportunity to put all my gratitude into words to thank NAC, National Assessment and Accreditation Council, for providing academic sponsorship in organizing this international conference. We have been fortunate to be guided by our director and principal, Dr. Adit Gupta, who has been a constant support and main force behind the organization of this conference. Thank you, sir, for apprising the audience about the conference. I would like to express my deepest thanks to Mrs. Rupa Gupta for gracing the inaugural session. Your presence today in this event has immensely enhanced its importance. I thank Professor H.R. Shah, Professor S.K. Sharma, Professor G.S. Sambhya, Promite, and Mr. B.L. Bhatt and Mr. P.P. Sharma for their presence in today's inaugural session. I am thankful to Dr. Murad Sharma, Head PG Department, Dr. Ronika Sharma, Head UG Department, Dr. Monica Bajaj, Deputy Head UG Department, for their support, Dr. Bhati Tandon for ably conducting the session, Dr. Bindu Dua for playing the role of an effective teammate, Ms. Jasleen Mohyal for collaborating with NAC, members of review committee, staff on registration desk, IQAC team, ICT support team, infrastructure committee, hospitality management team, venue and staff, transport management arrangement staff, photography, videography and maintenance staff, sub-staff and all others who have been assigned different duties for rendering their full support in executing the plan successfully. Finally, I express my hearty thanks to all the 183 wonderful participants, presenters and students from 41 different institutions who have registered and joined today's program and exhibited their interest in the conference. Once again, I thank everyone. Thanks one and all.
Now I request the chief guest, other dignitaries, presenters, guests we have here, and the staff members to proceed for tea on the first floor of the college and multipurpose hall. Second floor of the college and the multipurpose hall. We have only 15 minutes. Then we are starting with another keynote session back in this hall itself.